into today's conversation, can you let us in a bit on the background and the achievements of the Kogi Internal Revenue Service, sir?
Thank you so much. I think it's my honor and privilege to represent my boss, Alhaji Sule Salihu, on this program. And I feel so honored and feel so humbled to be on this program. The journey of Kogi State Internal Revenue Service started 2016 when it transited from board to a service. It was an agency under the Ministry of Finance then, reporting to the Ministry of Finance until it was granted autonomy in 2016. And the autonomy was both administrative and financial autonomy. What that's supposed to mean was that it was now given a niche to run on its own, to evolve its policies in terms of recruitment and general administration. That led to the recruitment of professionals into the service. And ever since, glory be to God, it has been moving from growth to growth in terms of revenue generation.
That has been a very beautiful journey right from 2016 when the board gained autonomy to become a revenue service. So, sir, moving forward, what specific strategies has the revenue service implemented to boost tax payments in Kogi State, especially with the recent development of 3 billion naira per month revenue in Kogi State?
Okay, before now, the tax culture in Kogi State was at the lowest ebb. People were not aware of their tax obligation to the state. So the first thing we had to do was to do a lot of sensitization, a lot of engagement with the populace for their tax obligation to the state, to let them know that they could be part of the transformation agenda of the state government. So, and what that means is that they were not aware that they were supposed to pay certain taxes to the state. So we have to comb all the nooks and crannies of the state to do a lot of sensitization to broad spectrum of Kogais on their tax obligation. Now, tax in recent times has to do with technology. So largely, before we came on board in 2016, tax was manually collected. But we have to leverage on technology to drive the tax as we speak today.
That is an amazing development. Indeed, the world is going digital. Moving away a bit, can you tell us what impact Governor Ododo's leadership has had on the Kogi State Internal Revenue Service in terms of policy decisions and support for the revenue service?
So much has happened since the governor take the mantle of leadership of Kogi State. And the first thing I want to say is that tax is about the economic transaction of the state. And this can only happen when there is purchasing power of people. And the purchasing power could only happen when money is flowing into the hands of the people. Today, the economy of the state in Kogi State, as well as many other states in Nigeria today, is largely dependent on government spending. What that means is that if government does not spend, the economic activities of the state will be dull. So the government has brought in place a situation whereby money is released into circulation. And in what way? Regular payment of salary. By paying regular salary, the civil servants, every other people in the sector can go to the market to buy things. And in the same way, the people who brought their goods to the market can sell. And through that, we can now go to the market, to the taxpayers, to say that please come forward and pay your tax. Because the government, through their spending, they are lubricating the economic activities of the state. That is one. To elicit tax compliance also, people, the taxpayers themselves need to see that the government is doing something with their tax and their taxes. Today, if you go around the nooks and crannies of the state, there are so many developmental projects that is going on by the state government. Talked about road infrastructure, talked about agriculture, talked about health sector, talked about educational sector. The citizens are seeing what the state government is doing with their money. And that has made it easy and easier for us to go out there and collect the various taxes. Again, the government has supported us so much in terms of political will. Before now, it has been very difficult to collect taxes from certain group of taxpayers. But today, those people, by the time they run to the government, to the governor, to say that, oh, this is the tax liability they have given to me, and the governor will say that, oh, please go back and settle with Kogi State Internal Revenue Service. That has supported so much, and that has lifted our IGR. You may have heard sometime about a few months ago where there is noise in the state when the service shut down a service provider in the state. So people feel that the economic activities of the state will be affected. They run to the governor from the federal government and all those to prevail on the governor. But the governor said, if they have tax obligation to pay to Kogi State, they must also pay. And one thing I must not fail to mention is that the governor also approved a new salary structure for the service, and which has also lifted the morale of the staff. And now, as we speak, the staff are happy and also contributing in the growth of IGR. In the same vein, in August last year, when the new directors are to be appointed, after the former directors have served their statutory 8 years, the governor graciously appointed directors from within instead of bringing directors from outside. That becomes a lot of moral booster for the service, not only for the directors that were appointed, but also for the staff in general, meaning that there is a career growth, career path for everybody. And that makes the staff to remain committed to the job they are doing.